So in this chapter, we find out that the Culling game has ended, or just no longer functions, question mark, which is something we've been wondering about for a while because it was kind of like the crux of the whole latter portion of this series. And after Sukuna was defeated, they kind of just skipped ahead in time and everything was fine. They didn't even address the Culling games, which is weird because its construction and ending was talked about a lot, and how difficult it would be to actually end the game without a catastrophe happening. But apparently that just happened and there's no repercussions. Because in this chapter we see Maki going out and finding Daigo and Mio, the reincarnated sorcerers who helped Maki power up mid-fight against Naoya. And she says that the Culling games no longer function. It's probably because the incarnated players are taking steps together. Megumi came back alive, but it's a gamble, and it's pretty certain that they're moving ahead with Hana and Yuji pulling off the curse items from the victims. So I'll get more into that, of course. But the Culling game no longer functions, and apparently it's because the incarnated type of players are taking steps together. So what does that mean? Classic ambiguous Gege speak, of course. Hopefully once we get like the official translations, it'll make more sense of this. But what I'm taking away from this is that all of the players left in the game who are reincarnated sorcerers, just like Kashimo, Angel, Daigo, and Mio, they existed hundreds of years ago, if not 1,000 with some of them. Their souls were put into curse objects just like Sukuna. Then it eventually got to this point of where a host was found to consume those cursed objects so that those sorcerers would take over the body and become them. The ones that are left, which apparently there's, I guess, some, because not all of them have been killed, especially because the Culling game originally had to end via the rules implemented by Kenjaku, with all of the Culling game players dying except for Megumi and Geto, who at that time were Sukuna and Kenjaku, taking over their bodies. Technically, Geto did die because, Okotsu chopped his freaking head off, but Megumi didn't. Sukuna was stripped from his body and he just lived, such as Maki is saying here. Megumi came back alive. So all of the remaining incarnated sorcerers, I guess it's implied that they are using rule changes to make the game not function anymore. I don't know how they're getting points. I guess they're just killing random cursed spirits that are still in Tokyo if they're just not killing each other, which it doesn't seem like they are. Also, the main group of sorcerers had a bunch of points themselves that they didn't spend. So a lot of rules could have been made. And we saw that with Kenjaku, if you're savvy enough, you can kind of confuse the Culling game's AI into like sort of malfunctioning and allowing you to do pretty much whatever you want. We all know that home-cooked meals are so much better for you, but you don't always have time to pull it off. But with HelloFresh handling all the meal planning, shopping, and most of the prep, it's easier than ever to get dinner on the table quick and painless. You can choose from a variety of menu options to suit all of your needs and tastes, from fit and wholesome to quick and easy or vegetarian and family friendly. There's something for everyone to enjoy, because you can easily customize your meals with protein or veggie swaps. And don't forget to check out HelloFresh Market for more delicious add-ons to jazz up your weekly deliveries. Now, I jazzed up my own with some breakfast because I got their bacon and cheddar egg bites, and they're amazing and so satisfying. Super easy, you just throw them in the microwave for like 2 minutes and you're good to go. Great fast breakfast. And then for dinner, I made the melty Monterey Jack burgers with onion jam, garlic mayo, and crispy potato wedges. It was fun to make, and as you can see, this thing is delicious. I really hope that you could try this for yourself because it is so satisfying. So guys, for free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com and use code FREEZONIN. That's one free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. Again, that's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com with my code FREEZONIN. Thanks, guys. Because that's kind of what Kenjaku did when he forced the Culling game into changing its rules so that it would end and start the merger of Japan with Tengen and the barrier once everyone within it died except for Geto and Megumi. So like I said, they could just all group together and do something similar. I don't even know if Gege himself has like fully thought this one through because of the way that he's going about it here. Or maybe he just left it ambiguous because he wants to leave it up to interpretation, but I don't think that's the case. Maybe we'll find out in the next chapter, but the Culling games are over now, and Maki tells Mio and Daigo that since the Culling games are over, Tokyo is still a pretty messed up area. Since, still cursed spirits are dwelling there out in the public, pretty strong ones too, and it was publicly announced to the world that it's happening. But apparently it's been boiled down to only cursed spirits are appearing in Tokyo. Like, that's just something that the world believes, I guess. Like, oh, we don't got to worry about it. Let's just not go to Tokyo. I guess they're deeming it like the way that we do on the internet, like the uninhabited parts of Australia. We say that there's like monsters there. That's why no one goes there. Shout out to all my Australian listeners. I hope to come visit one day. But she essentially says that, like, that's probably a good place to go chill, because she doesn't want to kill these guys, because it seems like that's what they're going to do. Because she said earlier they're going ahead with the plan of Yuji and Hana, with Angel, to pull the cursed objects from the victims, the reincarnated sorcerers. Some of them are victims, some of them not so much. Kashimo, definitely not a victim. However, his host is. So I guess that's what they're getting across here, is that the hosts of the incarnated players are the victims, which of course they are. But Maki wants these guys to live because, they're good guys. And they helped her progress in power over the course of one chapter. Or at least Mio did. Daigo had his chapter. They both individually had a chapter to speed run Maki to get to Toji's level so that she could just be somewhat of a factor in the final fight against Sukuna, despite her just getting destroyed anyway. But I digress. They're gonna live. They're just gonna be chilling in Tokyo killing curses, I guess. As for the other incarnated sorcerers, I guess Yuji and Hana are gonna go around, use Jacob's ladder on them, and maybe it'll save the people that were used as vessels, hopefully. But as for the ones that Daido and Mio took over, I guess it's fine. But anyway, then we're seeing the perspective of other characters in this chapter. Like, we're coming to Charles. Charles is like working on a manga now. Apparently he got funding to make like a one-shot or something. I'm assuming he's going to adapt the story of everyone fighting Sukuna or whatever, maybe. We're also seeing Megumi with Shoko, like, at a grave for Sumiki, since she didn't really get that, his sister. Then we're also seeing Urahime and Gaku Ganji saying that they're putting Sukuna's remains at like the bottom of Jujutsu High. I think that's where they are right now, in like Tengen's chambers or whatever. Actually, I'm not really sure where this is. This is like, I think, the same place where Kenjaku took Tengen to find like Sukuna's mummified corpse. But anyway, it turns out that the cursed womb thing of Tengen that Kenjaku gave to Sukuna to eat, that's still in Sukuna's like flesh body corpse thing that was pulled from Megumi. But the only purpose of it is to just chill there so that it could power Tengen's barrier for a little longer. I mean, that's literally what they're doing. They're leaving like a pile of flesh from a cursed Sukuna incarnation thing, which has residual energy in it left from Tengen, from him consuming the cursed womb. And I don't know, it's gonna last for enough time for them to figure out what to do afterwards, because Urahime's like, this is fine for now, I guess, but we need to immediately come up with a strategy and a general plan. And Gaku Ganji's like, nah, it's fine, everyone's still young. So I don't know what they're gonna do, because it's, finite power generating Tengen's barrier here. And let me just quickly go over what Tengen's barrier is and its purpose. So allegedly, Tengen made this barrier around Tokyo like 1,300 years ago, which was even 300 years before the freaking Heian era, which is also, I guess, why Tengen is referred to as the founder of the Jujutsu world, which is crazy. Like, what was going on at this time? Like, how did she discover all this stuff? But I guess that's a story for another time that we'll never know. Anyway, this barrier essentially keeps the cursed energy in Japan for the most part. I mean, obviously it leaks out sometimes and we see sorcerers in other places, like with Miguel in Africa and LaRue wherever he's from. But Tengen's barrier is essentially why there is a monopolization of cursed energy in Japan. And it also keeps it so that there's a slow drip of cursed energy that breaks into the world. So we don't get, special grades all over the place all the time. And that's why they kept facilitating Tengen's cycle of life and death, with this curse technique and bringing him the vessel you know, what we saw with Rico. It was to maintain this barrier all that time. So I don't know what they're going to do other than just Deus Exing themselves into fixing it with, I don't know, somebody else becoming Tengen or something. There's only one chapter left at this point, so whatever it is, it's going to be rushed or just not explained. We're also cutting to Takaba, who is alive, and I don't know, he's like writing jokes or something with somebody that looks like Geto, but I highly doubt it's Geto because there's no way it could be. I think it's just like a joke. I mean, also it's supposed to represent Kenjaku since, you know, they had their whole big moment in their final fight, especially with them creating that whole comedy act. But this person is, I don't know, just some random person meant for, with Gege trying to get a reaction out of the readers, I guess. I don't know. We're also seeing Higuruma back in his lawyer firm or wherever he's at, and he's talking to like a fellow colleague, and apparently he's not getting prosecuted for mass murder. Right? Like, when Higuruma first got his curse technique, like once Kenjaku activated his transfiguration stuff and activated all of the incarnated sorcerers and all of the people whose brains he's altered to have curse techniques. Also, why did he do that? And how did he do it? Who did he pick? It doesn't matter. Anyway, once Higuruma activated his curse technique, you know, deadly sentencing, he used it on a group of people after a court proceeding went the way that he didn't agree with. And the implication is that everyone was killed by deadly sentencing in the room. So technically, Higuruma is murdering all of them. Even if it was Judge Man, it's still him activating it and going along with it. But apparently it's fine. It's fine because he helped the sorcerers fight against Sukuna, and now they're going to have him act as their own sorcerer, essentially? Because he's saying that headquarters, quote unquote, which I'm assuming he's talking about the firm here, not like Jujutsu High. And he's like, it seems that they want me to work hard as a sorcerer. So he's not a lawyer anymore. He's just like a cop sorcerer. Then we also get this little moment between Megumi and Hana, to where Megumi's saying, like, I'll essentially be your protector. You know, especially since you lost your right arm, I'll be your right arm for now. And then Hana's thinking that he's saying that he's going to marry her. But then he's like, no, that's not what I mean. We'll talk later. I would like it if Megumi winds up with Hana, because why not? Let him just be with someone. I'm not going to get into his stuff with Sumiki, but let him be with Hana, you know, because she likes him. He saved her as a kid or whatever. Even though it's going to be really weird since she's still inhabited by Angel. And I don't know what's going on with that. But coming into the end of this chapter, we're seeing what is essentially going to be the final mission that we see the sorcerers go on here. And it's this random guy who appears to have like large eyes to his girlfriend. So they come and investigate this guy, and they see that they look normal to him, but he only looks like he has like these big weird eyes to his girlfriend. So they figure that, oh, there must be something going on with the girlfriend rather than this guy. And they're thinking, oh, maybe it's a curse user, you know, like a sorcerer who's doing some kind of special jujitsu to make him appear this way to his girlfriend. Kind of like a practical joke almost, not so much a threat of murder, and not so much an actual cursed spirit doing this, because, you know, we saw back in the beginning of the series how minor curses can affect people. It could be like a neck ache or flu-like symptoms or something like that, and this is lining up with that. But this apparently is a person who survived the Culling game, and now they're out just doing stupid stuff like this. So in the next chapter, which is the final chapter of the series, Megumi, Yuji, and Nobara are going to figure out what's going on with this quote-unquote harassing curse user. So, yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.